Welcome to this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. The types of business that occur at these meetings include public hearings, official voting on actions by the Board of Commissioners, presentations by departments of the county, and recognition of service that makes our county great. As your elected representatives, the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is committed to improving the lives of all our residents while preparing county government to meet the demands of the future. In order to do that, we need to share our thoughts and plans with you. More importantly, we need you to share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions with us. We encourage you to come and experience the process by attending any of these meetings. They occur every first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the St. Clair County Administration Building at 200 Grand River Avenue in Port Huron.
They're going to be the third one.
We call to order the St. Clair County Commissioners of Human Services Committee. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Samasco, Commissioner Tamian.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Bohm.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Graytop.
Here.
Commissioner Riley.
Here. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any additions, corrections, changes to the agenda?
Make a motion, we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, do we have any citizens to be heard for this committee? Okay, any updates? No updates, conceptual initiatives? Nothing? Okay. We have old business tonight. New business. Other human service matters. Information only, point of interest, September of 2014.
Make a motion, we receive and file all packets.
Second.
Moved and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could have done that in 1 minute, took you 2.
Actually, I was not. To let you know, you could have set a record.
Close.
I'd like to call to order the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Judiciary Public Safety Committee. Would the clerk take the roll, please?
Commissioner Samasco, Commissioner Tamian.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Bohm.
Here.
Commissioner Riley.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Graytop.
Here. Any additions or changes to the agenda? I don't see any, so
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
moved and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any citizens wishing to address the Judiciary Public Safety Committee? Any updates from commissioners? From administration, are there any conceptual initiatives? And there is no old business. Under new business, item A is the 2014-2015 Community Mental Health Contract for Inmate Services. You have it in your packet in front of you, gentlemen. If you have any questions, but this is kind of just a repeat.
I'll make a motion we send this to the full board.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to support. Any discussion or questions?
Other than the price, is that pretty consistent with what we've paid in the past for this same service?
It is, but actually what has happened is they've done some combining of some of the services, and it's actually less than what we have paid for in the past, and the services have also smoothed out. There's less people involved, more with one agency. It's working very, very well.
Yeah, I know this is going back many, many years ago when Sheriff Dan Lane was here, and he used to make the comment that he had the biggest mental facility in the county, and that was the jail. And I don't think, I know there are a lot of people in the community have to understand we have people in there that really do need this kind of assistance. And we're fortunate we can provide that.
Very good. Any other discussion?
Just on a side note, talking about jail, I was with Tom Bliss a few days ago. I ran into him, and we were chit-chatting about the new contract that he has with medical services. And I think you'll attest to this, Carrie, it's working out very well. Substantial savings over previously what we were doing in the jail, and they're very happy with the services tonight. Mercy Hospital.
Yeah, I think Mercy Hospital and Community Mental Health are the only two outside agencies
Yeah.
that they're using now, which has made it a
So-
lot easier, smoother. No other comments? Motion to send it on the full board. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 7B is the 2014 Port Securities Grant. You have a packet there. They're looking at collecting about $24,500. And the keywords there, no match required. If you have questions, Jeff Freeland is in the audience. I promised I'd have him out of here by about 7:15. So you can have about 7 minutes worth of questions if you need them.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we send the 2014 Port Security Grant on to the full board.
I'd support that.
A motion to support. Discussion or questions?
7:15, we got to talk for an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6:15.
No question.
All right, all in favor of sending this on to the full board?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. 7C is the 2015 Marine Safety Grant application. Lieutenant Paul Reed is in the audience if we have questions. If you'll see the history started out at $230,000 in '09 and worked its way down to $128. It just seems like every year it goes lower and lower. We're getting no match on the federal grant, 25% on the local, on the state money, but we do not know what that is until the grant actually is approved. But I've been told by Dina that the money is in the budget for the state amount when the time comes that we do get the grant. You will notice that they asked for, in the grant application, they asked for the full amount, $324,000. Paul, that's what it takes to run for the whole season?
It does, sir.
Okay, so they asked for the 324, but there's a cap on that somewhere, and I'm not sure if I know what it is, 128 maybe or something, so. Paul, you wanna?
Make a motion, we send it to the full board.
Okay,
Second?
motion to support. Paul, do you want to say something? You're here.
The amounts change each year. Last year, we 25% reduction from the previous year.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear.
Okay, Paul, why don't you?
My only comment, we don't know exactly what we will receive from the state from year to year. It changes constantly. From 2013 to 2014, there was a reduction of 25%. I mean, it wasn't just St. Clair County, it was across the state, but their contribution continues to reduce, and that doesn't help us any in supplying the same amount of services.
Paul, is there any way that you can see that we can get more money somewhere? I mean, are these the only sources that we have for these grants? Is there something else?
As for running the operation, yes. There are some anticipated port security grants for equipment,
Okay.
similar to the one that Mr. Freeland just received, which we plan to apply for in the 2015 season to replace a couple of boat motors. But as far as paying wages and rent and boat maintenance, there are no other sources.
I guess what makes it difficult is we have so much shoreline that we need to cover in this area around here that to keep taking these figures and dropping them every year. I mean, from 300,000 down to 128 over a 6-year period is a pretty big drop, and it's really making it difficult for you guys.
It is. Unfortunately, with the money situation, we're not going to be able to teach boater safety in the schools this coming winter. Our option is going to be teaching on a Saturday where all of the instruction is done by myself because there's no money to pay the deputies to go into the schools, and asking civic organizations to donate a place to allow us to teach, like Lions clubs. And so, you know, some of the kids aren't going to have the opportunity to take boater safety, but I don't have any other choice.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Just a question. You were talking about acquisition of equipment. I was out to the airport event, what was it, Saturday? And the dive team was out there. I know you work closely with them.
We do.
And they were showing me their new Humvee pickup that they got for $1.
Yes.
And it looked like the ideal vehicle for their purpose of moving their equipment around.
And it does work very well. The Sheriff's Department did obtain one for the SRT that they found out was not fully armored, and the sheriff has graciously given that vehicle to the Marine Division for use in transporting boats. We're in the process. We had someone offer to donate painting the vehicle for us, doing some few changes for it. So we will have another vehicle for towing at no cost to the taxpayer.
Excellent. Well, he said it cost $1.
Well, this one didn't cost us anything,
Oh, okay. That's even better.
unless the sheriff paid the $1 and didn't tell me.
Any other questions for Paul or regarding this? Paul, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of sending it on to the full board?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item D is the Highway Safety Grant application, also from the Sheriff's Office. This, by the way, gentlemen, has been changed to final action because of a date, an urgency on the date. It's a $10,000 request. That money is for, used for enforcing underage drinking and things of that nature. And that money is distributed amongst other agencies throughout the county, and then they focus on certain days when kids tend to be out there drinking. An example, maybe Halloween, or when they come home from school on prom night or things of that nature. Those are the days that they focus on, so that's what this is about.
Make a motion for final action for approval.
Support. I have a motion and a support for final action. Any questions, discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of sending, or of final action? Oh, roll call vote.
Commissioner Samasco?
I don't believe I can vote because I have not heard the motion. I just got here, so.
Okay. Commissioner Tamian?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm?
Yes.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Greathoff?
Yes. The last item is 7E, the interagency agreement between Public Guardian and Community Mental Health. This is not for final action.
I'll make a motion, we send this to the final board.
Okay, Gary is in the audience if we have questions. It's, Gary and I talked earlier in the week, and this is pretty much a routine matter. We do it every year. It's just a paper transfer of funds. Correct, Gary? No. Questions? Do we already have a motion?
We have a motion, no second.
Support. I have a support. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of sending it on to the full board?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Gary. Any other judicial or judiciary and public safety matters? I have no information only. We can receive and file if you'd like, gentlemen.
So move.
Motion and support to receive and file. All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, so that passes. And if you want to, we can adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Commissioner Samasco?
Here?
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Riley?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Greathoff? Commissioner Heidemann?
Here. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the
Move to
agenda.
approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Supported by Commissioner Tomlin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizens to be heard about environmental or public works matters? Seeing none, any updates from commissioners? Seeing none, any conceptual initiatives from administration? Okay. Moving on to old business, none on the agenda. New business, the first item is the Columbus County Park property acquisition. I would entertain a motion to approve the acquisition agreement, and we have Mark here. Sorry, is that mine?
It's one of your mobile phones or devices.
Okay. Wasn't mine.
Who's the call?
Somebody on vibrate, is that the problem?
Okay. I will entertain a motion first, and we'll turn it over to discussion. You can
So
ask.
moved.
Support.
And support. Okay. Any questions for Mark at this time?
Want me to give a brief overview?
Yeah, would you please?
One of the priorities under the current master plan is to acquire property up and downstream from Columbus County Park. There is a parcel of property, about 26 acres, located just upstream of the park. In your packet, you should have a map showing the parcel in question. We had discussions with the current property owner a couple years back, and did an appraisal and made an offer based on the appraisal, and he turned us down. As has happened a few times, the property owner has come back to us and said, well, I'm even more interested in selling my property, and he gave a general idea, a number of what he was willing to sell it for, which was close enough that we could, in good conscience, order another appraisal. We received the appraisal for $77,000, and the property owner said he would accept that. In the discussion amongst the Park Commission, there was interest in seeing if we could find a bridge owner to allow us to apply for Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant to purchase the property. We have used that strategy on 2 different occasions. The first time was with Fort Gratiot County Park, where Citizens First Bank was the third party that held the property until we were able to secure a trust fund grant. More recently in Columbus County Park, the major purchase down there, we were unsuccessful with our first grant application and invited to resubmit it, but the property owner was not willing to wait that long. And in that circumstance, the Trust for Public Land stepped in and was the third-party property owner that would allow us to apply for and successfully get a grant. We are proposing to do the same thing again, this time with our friends at the St. Clair County Community Foundation. We contacted them and asked if they were willing to help us in this matter, and they indicated yes, they were. Since then, Mr. Fletcher has worked with me and representatives of the Community Foundation to work out the agreements that's before you tonight. And Mr. Fletcher can surely answer any questions you would have on the specific agreement.
Any questions for Mark?
Just a comment. We've talked about this before, and I was in support of it. I think it'd be good for Columbus County Park, and we've talked to you about it today, and I think it's going to be very good for the county.
I'm looking at the map at this time, and the fact that we have now frontage on both sides, it also includes a tremendous amount of frontage on property we already own. Do you have any idea approximately the distance that Pine River, Bell River runs through there? Mile and a half as it meanders?
Through the entire park?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 1.5 miles.
Great trout stream for all the fishing.
DNR Fisheries really likes that river.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll send this on to the full board, and thank you for your comments, Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now, the Columbus White Barn cement floor. Next item.
If you've been out to Columbus County Park, there is a gambrel roof white barn that sits right off of Bauman Road. Originally, the Park Commission was not interested in putting money into the building because frankly, we have been maintaining some pretty big gambrel roof barns at Goodles County Park. Because of the architectural significance of the building, the Columbus Township came to us and said, hey, we would like to do some improvements on it, and we signed a 20-year lease agreement with them, and they proceeded to very efficiently deal with all the structural and cosmetic issues with the building. Since then, they haven't quite figured out anything that they would really need to do with the building other than their original goal of protecting it and preserving it. In the meantime, we have been operating our maintenance functions out of a property on the corner of Crawford and Corona Roads, and included a pole barn. Well, the pole barn is probably as cobbled together as any building we've ever purchased, and we, after looking at it and talking about fixing it or building a new one, it kind of corresponded with the township saying we'd like to turn the white barn back to you. So our plan is to now make some improvements to the interior of the white barn, including running electrical to the building and cementing the floor to make maintenance functions more feasible in the building. So Brad Brinsky, the park operations supervisor, solicited proposals from area contractors. Some were interested and some were not. And the low bid contractor was Pro Cement for $14,476, and we are asking for your approval of a contract to do that work.
I got some questions, comments.
Okay.
Pro Cement, where are they located at, Mark? Do you know?
I believe they were all,
St. Clair County contractors?
I believe that's our intention. If we
Okay.
solicit
Well,
locally first. My understanding is
That's fine. Sanctum Contracting, I'm going to guess I give a little plug. That's the Witt family. And they have been major players in the redevelopment here, efforts in Port Huron. Probably somewhere, I actually just talked to the son here recently. They're the ones that are doing all the lofts in downtown Port Huron. Somewhere probably in the $15 million neighborhood, to be quite honest. And I think we'd be remiss for a difference between $76 if we wouldn't seriously consider them for the contract.
Well, let's find out if Pro Contracting is a St. Clair County one.
I don't have it handy with me here at the podium.
Which is fine, you can get back
Any,
with us, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Witt family. They're the ones that are redoing all the lofts here in downtown Port Huron.
I'm familiar with that.
Major investor in the community.
Commissioner Riley.
Just, have we used them before anywhere? The one you're talking about?
No, we did not, but with any new apparent low bidder, we contact them and do a little bit more investigation to determine that they are capable of doing the work. And in this case, Mr. Brinsky contacted them, asked for references, and checked the references.
You're saying we have done stuff with Sanctum, or?
I've seen their name out there a bunch. I don't know if personally if we've done.
I don't believe we've done a contract. They've bid on multiple, opportunities, but I don't believe we've had a one where they were the successful bidder.
I just know they own some manufacturing businesses here locally in
Yeah.
St. Clair County, and they're huge.
Up in Yale.
Up in Texas, and like I said, major investment in the downtown area, so.
If I could ask the chair,
Russian?
it's only a $76 difference. Do you need a motion to approve Sanctum as the bid to be awarded for take that to the forward board? and just
If
need to
that's the
forward this?
desire of this board, I have no difficulty with that.
I'll make that motion for Sanctum to be the contractor and forward this to the full board.
I would second that.
Okay? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Goes on to the board.
Are you still asking me to double check the residency of Pro Cement or not?
Won't be necessary now, I would think.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
You have a history with Sanctum, so, the county does, and the work they've done. You haven't. keeping it in the county, so that's a big consideration there also.
Okay, next item is the Woodson County Park Topographical Survey, and this I would like for final action, so they can get started on that as soon as possible.
Mr. Chair, then I will move that we give final approval to the Woodsong County Park Topographical Survey contract.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, any discussion? Mark, you want to give us an update on this?
Just a brief, this is part of the project to do a canoe and kayak launch at Woodsong County Park, and it doesn't do any good unless you provide an ADA accessible route down to it. As the first part of the project, park staff and the project designer Pam Blau walked the site and determined that there was a lot of earth-moving challenges to the originally selected location, so we continued to scout. And I think we found what was a long past route down to a former sawmill site on the property, and that there was real opportunities to take advantage of a long hidden route down to the site, and that there would be a lot less earth moving because the bank at that point is a lot lower to the water level. So, but in order to do that and get the required DEQ permit, we would need to have topographical information that's more accurate than the 10-foot contours we have now. This would give us six-inch contours. And at the discussion at the Park Commission meeting, we originally asked the contractor for a quote for doing the southern third of the park only. I think that was $7,400 or $7,800, and for the entire park. The Park Commission said for the little amount more, why don't we survey the whole property, and then we have that available to us for anything in the future. So that brought it up to the proposed $10,800.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Is this a grant eligible expense, Mark?
Part of it. That could come under our design and engineering portion of the grant. So some of it will be, but we'll probably max out over the $50,000 total project cost. But some of it will be covered by the grant.
That was the $50,000 Michigan Natural Resource DEQ
Right.
funds.
Right.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Rushing.
you did propose this for final action. Is there a reason why we didn't get another company other than BMJ to bid on the topographical?
They've done all the survey work on the site up to this point, is why that, and we haven't gotten through the QBS process to line up additional qualified vendors to give us a proposal.
Okay.
But we are on a timeline with the DEQ to move this project along.
And on future projects, do we consider other?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mr. Tomian's on the committee, and you have before you a policy change that kind of gives us a little better framework for moving forward with the QBS process.
The goal of our committee is to have at least 3 approved contractors for all the work in the next, I think it's 3 years.
Yeah.
Any other questions for,
Question for him.
I'm sorry,
Mark,
Commissioner Spasko.
do these folks actually go out to the site and walk it prior to making like a proposal?
BMJ was familiar with the site. There were some survey issues when we acquired it. There was a boundary between the our property and the DNR property where there was some missing land, and BMJ worked with DNR to resolve that, and we each got a little more land in the process. So they've been on the site before.
Do you walk that with anybody yourself, or is it just basically they go out, or do you go out with them?
Well, the specification of 6-inch contours and their familiarity with the site, we expect them to know exactly what they're getting into.
Okay, thanks.
Now, Pam Blau has walked that.
Pam Blau, the landscape architect, was on the site with us going through the brambles and
Yeah.
falling down the hill and climbing back up the hill.
Any other questions? Commissioner Rushing.
2 weeks going to make a difference, because this, you want it for final action. Is 2 weeks going to make a difference in the project?
Well, we'd like to get them mobilized and get out there as soon as the leaves drop. We just think that, and we're given an update report to the DEQ right now saying we're waiting for a survey before we can apply to the permit. So
Because if it's time eminent, you gotta have it, I can support this. If it isn't, I'd like to have another quote on it. But if it isn't, then we need to go forward with it.
Any other commissioners?
Nope.
Just to clarify here, BMJ has set price list for each of their services, so we already know pretty much, you know,
It was
what
their
the cost is
contract
for each
price
of the
from
professionals.
several years ago
Yeah.
that they just keep renewing at the same hourly rates.
So I mean, I feel comfortable having them do this topographical survey. I guess I'll ask for a vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
We need
nay?
a roll call on this?
We need a
Yes.
roll call?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We need a roll call. Thanks for reminding me.
Commissioner Tamian?
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm?
Yes.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, we have the Smiths Creek landfill activities report. I would entertain a motion that we receive and file those reports.
So move.
We need a second.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Is there any other environmental or public works matters to come before this committee? Seeing none, information only. The Park and Recreation financial reports are in your packet. I would entertain a motion to receive the Park and Recreation financial reports.
So moved. Support.
Supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. This time, a motion to receive and file packets.
So move. Support.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And now a motion to adjourn.
That's so moved.
And support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Good catch.
At this time, I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Samasco?
Here.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Riley?
Here.
Commissioner Greatop?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here. This time, do we have any citizens wishing to be heard? Seeing none, we'll move on to updates. Do we have any updates from any of the commissioners? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Make a
Skip
motion
number
we
2.
accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, now we'll go to citizens to be heard. Seeing none, move on to number 4. Updates from any commissioners?
Yeah, just one quick one. Bill Graytop and myself attended a award ceremony today at the Hilton. The Hilton received, I can't even think of the name of the award, but it was the top property out of 303 properties. They have a whole bunch of different scores that they do from the public and so on and so forth. And they
Out of
scored out very
303 double trees in North America, this Hilton came in number 1.
Wow.
And they have 4 bigwigs from Hilton there.
Yeah.
The main guy was busy, he could not make it. It was a very, very nice affair. Did a great job. They're $50,000 beyond where they're supposed to be for 1 month in their budget. I mean, they've got an excess of money. Everything is just going gangbusters over there. It was a really, really nice affair.
That's great.
Well, I would just have one, and I thought it'd be, because if you don't say something and you lose the opportunity. This board gave a proclamation to my father-in-law, and that was in August. And it was a very special proclamation. He also received a letter from the governor for his services in World War II, and he also received the highest award that France does. His funeral was today. He was 95 years old, so I thought I'd point that out. We did have an honor guard there. They gave him a gun salute. We also had the armed services come from Detroit and play taps for him. They gave a presentation of the flag to the family.
Very good, Dave.
Glad we did that award when we did.
Okay, any other updates? Move on to conceptual initiatives. Do we have any? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. St. Clair County Retirement System Ordinance Amendments.
Mr. Chairman, I move that these retirement system ordinance amendments be passed on to the full board.
Do I have a second?
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Moving on to new business. 7A, 2014 St. Clair County Winter Tax Rate Request.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we send this on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. 7B, Administrator Controller, 2015 Budget Presentation.
Actually, I will turn this over to Carrie Hepting. I just want to let all of you know that Ms. Hepting has done an awful lot of work with the department heads and other elected officials, meeting with many of them one-on-one to go through their budgets and look at their expenditures and revenues for an extended period of time and really fine-tune the budget. And she is here to present some very good news to you today.
At your place tonight is administration's proposed 2015 general fund budget. We will be coming back to you in December with the rest of the special revenue fund budgets, all the millage funds and all of those. But what you have before you is pretty much a status quo budget. There was not a lot of significant changes made to it. The result of the individual department meetings, we were able to go through, analyze all of their line items and look for areas where perhaps some contract savings have been negotiated, but it wasn't accurately reflected in their budget. We looked at items like telephones, utilities, copier leases. That's where we saw a lot of areas where we could reduce their line items and not have any effect on their operations. This budget does propose eliminating one part-time position, and that position is currently vacant, so there's no layoffs proposed in next year's budget. Overall, we made reductions of just over $750,000. If you look at your tabs there's a green tab, or kind of like a yellowish green tab that has some supplementary information, and it shows some different budget highlights and a summary of the different adjustments we made in the departments to balance the budget. You can see our tax revenues are projected to go up 2% next year, which is good news. We've hit the bottom of that and it's starting to go up. One thing to note on that, though, is we're still bringing in about $5 million less in tax revenue each year than we did in 2007. So while we're starting to climb, it is a slow recovery, so we'll have to make sure we proceed cautiously. We have full revenue sharing in based on the state's budget, and after the August election with the passing of Proposal 1, we've also accounted for the phase out of personal property tax with the full replacement from the state. This budget does have a contingency of $157,000, which is slightly more than last year, which was at about $100,000, but less than what it's been in prior years. But I think since our revenues and our budgets are stabilizing, that the need for large contingencies isn't there anymore. If you have any specific questions, I can address them.
I was just going to say, I think seeing this is the first time that we've seen this tonight, let the commissioners take these back, look it over. If you have any, specific questions, you could always email them to Carrie. Carrie is going to come back here in a couple weeks to go over some more of the budget stuff. I don't know if commissioners, if you guys feel that would be prudent.
Good idea.
Yep, there's a proposed calendar in there for the public hearing and budget adoption in the front of your packet as well.
I just want to make a comment, and I've said this multiple times. Been on this board 10 years. A lot of budget battles early on, and I got to commend you and Bill and the department heads, working together to make this happen. A lot of times, this time of year, we always had to set aside a lot of time to have budget workshops, meetings. A lot of times our agenda gets a little bit thin this time of year because of that specific reason. And, you guys working with everybody, it's made, I think, our jobs as commissioners a whole lot easier, and give you a lot of credit.
Commissioner Smasko.
Is this an attachment on Novus, this presentation?
Nope, it was actually just finished up today, but it will be available on
Okay.
the county's website. I'm going to send it to IT tomorrow, so it should be there
That was
within a
going to be
day or
my
two.
question. I was looking at my packet, I didn't see it, but I think it should be out there as soon as possible.
I'll add
Yeah,
it on Novus
hopefully
as
by
well.
tomorrow.
Pardon me?
I'll add it on Novus as well, so it
Thank
becomes
you.
part of the packet.
Thank you.
Commissioner Heidemann.
I would just like to comment on Jeff's comment about what it was like back in the old days. And I think the real turnabout came when we hired Sean Groden to come in here as our administrator controller. And he worked on the plan, and we're still using it today, and I know you incorporated it, and that's to look out and plan budgeting out 5 years to see where we're going to be, and then pay particular attention to our rainy day fund to make sure that that's solvent. And because we've had that program in place now for almost a decade, right? Our fund balance, our rainy day fund has stayed right up there, and that's resulted in an increase in our bond rating, which has saved us money in terms of our bonds. So it's been very, very helpful. And the fact that you and Administrator Kaufman are continuing that policy, I think should build a lot of confidence for their citizens in St. Clair County.
Commissioner Smasko.
I'd like to comment on Howard's comment on Jeff's comment. But essentially, I think the big turnaround was with our current administrator. I like Sean, and he had good programs, and he had the modeling, which really did help. But I think that Bill brought some credibility with the department heads, because we had a little more tension there. And I think Bill, I just want to commend him for that, and Carrie too, because Bob, your replacement was a little more, I think, maybe difficult, stodgy, difficult. I sense more problems in those years. So I think we're on the right. I think we're on the right path. I think that makes our job a lot easier. The department head stepped up to the plate. They've really, over the last 8 years, have been cutting multi-million dollars. This is the lowest in the last 8 that I remember, and that's really good. And the department heads get a lot of credit. Bill gets a lot of credit. Sean certainly helped, and then Carrie, of course, you helped too. But hopefully we can continue that kind of that partnership with our department heads and our administrator, and this board too has made some good decisions. So I think there's a lot to go around.
When I was back being a township supervisor, so I think Beggars Night was still here about 5 years ago, maybe
yeah.
6 years ago, because I was sitting in the audience trying to get funding from the commissioners at that time for more road funding. And I remember the sheriff being up there, and it was a bit of a Beggars Night, and there was a sergeant of arms that didn't want me to talk too much.
Yeah,
Didn't you get
they told you to sit down and shut up, I remember, Dave.
I'm afraid you're going to tell some train story.
So it spurred them to run.
So I agree with that. I think a lot of the credit has to go to our current county administrator and also the commissioners and all the department heads and the whole county. Our biggest asset is our employees, and they've worked with us to get us through this, and just want to give them a thank you.
You cut $5 million out of a budget. You need all of your employees pulling together.
Nice job.
I don't believe we need any type of motion on that, because we'll be talking about that. So we'll move on to 7C, Policy 244, Securing Professional Services. It's a revision.
Make a motion, we send it to the full board.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Move on to 7D, Policy 214, General Capital Assets, and that's a revision.
I move that the general capital assets accounting revision policy be forwarded to the full board for approval.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. This time, do we have any other Ways and Means Matters? Commissioner Greatop.
3-2 Baltimore.
Any other Ways and Means Matters? Okay, information only. Can I have a motion to receive and file the information only?
I would so move.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Do I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session and also to adjourn at the end of the executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Stand adjourned after the
We
executive.
hope you enjoyed this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your St. Clair County Commissioners broadcast these meetings on Comcast Local Access Channel 12 every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you have any questions on any part of this program, please feel free to contact your St. Clair County Board of Commissioners or staff. You can find their contact information, the meeting agenda, and videos of the meetings at www.stclaircounty.org.